Carving your own handle out of solid wood on a lathe for the sole purpose of dispensing beer? That covers about 4 of your man card obligations. Don't let any salty Canadian mining engineers tell you otherwise.
If you get your jollies manipulating dead tree carcasses, hey, more power to you. Just don't ask me if I like to come over and watch gladiator videos with you.
Whether you brew your own libations at home or just consume enough of them to keep a tap on hand, the simplest way to spice up your kegerator is with a custom handle. It's a quick, easy project on the lathe, and there's tons of room for creativity. I'm using red oak for this handle with a stone inlay for an accent. First things first, I rough out the blank. I'm starting between centers to cut out a tenon, then I move to a chuck so I can drill out the bottom later. This oak splinters like crazy with a carbide scraper, but I'll switch to a sharp insert for the final cuts anyway. Once everything's round, I mark out some reference points. I'm going for a straight taper, so this is a good opportunity to use my linear interpolation skills. I use a parting tool and some cheap calipers to take the diameter down on my reference points. Then it's just a matter of connecting the dots. Once I'm happy with the rough shape, I went ahead and cut 2 grooves for the stone inlay accent. Oak is a very porous wood, so I applied a bit of tung oil to this area in hopes of keeping the superglue from penetrating too deeply. This is my first time ever trying stone inlay. I just alternated between adding stones into the grooves and soaking them with CA glue. The stone I'm using is crushed lapis lazuli. I had to Google how to pronounce that. For this first application, I let the glue dry for about 8 hours. The carbide scraper has no problem taking the stone down flush with the wood, but always wear a respirator and run your dust collector during this step. There's still a lot of gaps, so I do a second application. Again, I turn this down just using the carbide scraper. For the last application, I crushed the lapis down using my claw hammer on some marble. I have a lot of practice at this from when I was 7 years old, bored in my dad's garage. The goal is to fill all the small gaps that are left in the inlay. If I did this again, I think I'd crush the stone down even further into dust to get all the gaps perfectly filled in. Once the inlay is finished, I do some final shaping on the handle. I put a chamfer on the top and bottom, and sand and finish everything except the top. American tap handles have a standard 3/8 inch 16 TPI threads. To install the threaded insert, I first drilled out a 1/2 inch hole. I'm using a bolt with 2 nuts jammed on to apply the twisting force. The insert has some paste wax, and I'm just keeping constant pressure with the tailstock while I twist the tap handle by hand. Finally, I part off the handle and sand the top. The finish is polymerized tung oil, which I really like. This is for a friend, so I didn't get a shot of it in use, but here's the finished handle on its own. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think.